Welcome, my name is Michael Warren Thomas. I'm the founder of SavorLife.com and I've hosted the Grapevine radio show for the past 19 years. I've lived in the Finger Lakes tourism region for 35 years and I'm proud to call Rochester home. All of us speaking today oppose Crestwood's plan to store explosive liquid petroleum gas in unlined, abandoned salt mines under the shores of Seneca Lake in the heart of Finger Lakes wine country. Just yesterday, we learned that Crestwood has agreed to sell its U.S. salt plant, which is crucial to the operations of the LPG storage facility, but retaining their rights to store LPG along Seneca Lake. We're taking the time during the peak harvest season, the busiest time in our industry, to come to Albany and share our view. Governor Cuomo, don't let a Texas company, Crestwood, risk the destruction of our community. You'll hear from business owners, elected leaders, and concerned residents. We all want the Finger Lakes to continue on its current path toward expanding prosperity, environmental stewardship, and healthy, thriving communities. One of those business owners who couldn't be here today because of harvest deadlines is Rick Rainey of Forge Cellars, whose Finger Lakes Riesling is currently distributed in 24 countries. Rick wanted me to emphasize that international investors like his partner Louis Barol from France are excited about the building on the success of generations of grape growers and winemakers in the Finger Lakes. The Wine Spectator featured Louis several years ago with the headline, Genius of Gigondas. Just a few miles south of Louis Barol in Forge Cellars, Paul Hobbs is poised to produce his first Finger Lakes Riesling in 2018 from new vineyards directly across Seneca Lake from Crestwood's gas storage site. With wineries in Sonoma and Argentina, Paul is the first winemaker in the world to score 100 points on 2 different continents with 2 different varietals. And Forbes magazine called him the Steve Jobs of wine. Paul has said several times that the Finger Lakes is the most exciting wine region in the world right now. These key internationally renowned winemakers arrived after the 2009 permit application by Crestwood to store enormous amounts of gas under very high pressure in these geologically unstable salt caverns. Over these past 8 years, the wine region has been booming, and gas is no longer the fuel of the future. With 20% of Finger Lakes wineries using solar power, why would we risk our bright future for a handful of fossil fuel jobs and more profits for an out-of-state gas and oil company? With so little to gain, balanced against all that the region and New York State stands to lose, we urge Governor Cuomo to direct his DEC commissioner to reject the Crestwood permit. The DEC's chief administrative law judge, James McClimans, recently issued a partial ruling on Crestwood's request. We'll soon have a full ruling. Even though he described the area as a burgeoning wine and tourism region, the judge has ignored evidence in the record that supports a denial of the permit. Soon the issue will come before DEC Commissioner Basil Sagos. The Finger Lakes community hopes that when it does, he'll recognize that the risks presented by the project cannot be mitigated, are unacceptable, and are in direct opposition to the community character of the Finger Lakes. With the rapid adoption of renewable energy, the fossil fuel industry has no long-term future in our state. In contrast, our wine region is rapidly growing, multi-billion-dollar economic engine for New York State. The threat of massive gas storage project will not allow the Finger Lakes to reach its potential as a world-class wine region.
Good afternoon. My name is Ruthie Young. I'm from 1199. I'm an administrative organizer. And on behalf of 4,000 members of 1199 SCIU, United Healthcare Workers East, we wish to reiterate our strong opposition to the Crestwood proposal to store millions of gallons of dangerous liquefied petroleum gas in unlined salt caverns along Seneca Lake. We must protect our communities and the state's invaluable freshwater resources. We must also stop building infrastructure to expand our use to climate-disrupting fossil fuels. Thousands of 1199 SCIU members live and work in the Finger Lake regions, providing care and support to patients in hospitals and nursing homes throughout the area. Our members, their families, their neighbors get their drinking water from these lakes. The health of local communities is threatened by LPG storage on the edge of these, on the edge of the waters. At the same time that thousands of 1199 SCIU members have family members devastated by Hurricane Irma and Maria in the U.S. Virgin Islands and in Puerto Rico, are suffering because of storms intensified by climate change. We in New York need to do all we can to promote sustainable energy and protect our environment. Together, we can protect our drinking waters, our local economy, our health, and our very lives. But we need to act. In July 2015, the 1199 SEIU Executive Committee unanimously passed the attached resolution requesting that the Department of Environmental Conservation, DEC, denied the permit necessary for Crestwood to operate an LPG storage facility in this area. We stand by our resolution and our commitment to climate and environmental justice. We urge you to stand with us, the families, the businesses, the community of the Finger Lakes, and our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean and across the globe are counting on our leadership. Fresh water is New York's most important resource. Should it in no way be put in jeopardy by gas storage projects such as the one proposed by Crestwood. Industrializing along Seneca Lake would also threaten the local tourist and wine industry that have flourished in recent years, creating hundreds of new jobs and billions in the new economy activity. New York has taken bold steps forward under our administration away from dirty fossil fuels and towards clean and renewable energy. Our union supports these efforts. As healthcare workers, we remain committed to advancing the health of New York State's communities and protecting all communities from the ravage of climate change. Expanding the storage of LPG in the Finger Lakes would be disastrous step forward. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lou Damiani from Damiani Wine Cellars on the shores of Seneca Lake. I work with Gas Free Seneca and have been involved in clean energy development and helping businesses in the Finger Lakes meet the ambitious goals set forth by the governor in his REV plan. The propane that Crestwood wants to store under Seneca Lake wouldn't heat a single local home or business. It would leave by pipeline to serve locations far from the Finger Lakes. Even if it were staying, we are working hard to make sure we wouldn't need it. We've made dramatic strides to reduce and ultimately end our dependence on propane and other climate-disrupting fossil fuels. We hope the governor stands with the Paris climate deal and makes a stand nationally and rejects the fossil fuel industry and seeks for business development that has a triple bottom line, that works for the development of the community, that is sustainable and is economically viable. That's smart business today. And the governor, being a very shrewd, smart man, we hope will go that way. More and more Finger Lakes residences and businesses are improving their energy efficiency and moving towards renewable energy. 21 wineries and countless other businesses and residences have gone solar in an effort to achieve the governor's REV plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. In the process, we're creating good jobs and protecting the natural bounty that the region provides for future generations. And wineries and vineyards are a multi-generational business. This will last well into the future and only grow if given the chance and the help. Crestwood's proposed industrial LPG storage facility in the heart of the Finger Lakes wine country would be a huge step backwards. It threatens local businesses, the economic gains we've made in the southern tier, and the environmental legacy we wish to leave for the region. We call on the governor to protect the region's progress and ensure this plan is stopped once and for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Lausell. I'm a member of the Schuyler County Legislature. Schuyler County includes the southern shores of Seneca Lake, where Crestwood wants to build its LPG storage facility. Within sight of the village of Watkins Glen. It is our county seat and one of the premier tourist destinations of the Finger Lakes. Under Governor Cuomo's leadership, he has invested more than $16 million in Watkins Glen to improve our Watkins Glen State Park and with the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. He has also pledged $22 million for upgrading our drinking and wastewater infrastructure. These much-needed investments are already paying dividends for our local economy and the region. Sales and room tax revenues continue to increase, and for the first time in over a decade, there will be no increase in the county tax levy for our 2018 budget. So why would the governor allow a project like Crestwood's industrial gas storage on the shores of Seneca Lake? To jeopardize these investments and all of our hard work, the risks of a gas storage facility far outweigh any small economic benefit to our community. We call on the governor to stand with us and protect the region's future and our state's investment by working with Commissioner Sagos to reject Crestwood's proposal. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kim Laperty, co-owner of Billsboro Winery in Geneva, New York, at the top of Seneca Lake. My husband, a winemaker, and I moved to the Finger Lakes in 2000 to be part of the wine industry here, and in 2007 we opened Billsboro. Last year, 9 years into our business, we were thrilled to be the recipients of the 2016 Governor's Cup, which is the wine voted best wine in New York State for our 2013 Syrah. We're super proud of that achievement and to be part of the Finger Lakes wine community and environment. Wine and tourism are flourishing in the Finger Lakes. Together, our industries create nearly 59,000 local jobs and inject $3 billion a year into the local economy. If this potentially dangerous Crestwood proposal is allowed to move forward, the Finger Lakes region would have yet another threat of a gas leak accident or an explosion hanging over a community. And who wants that for their local business? Any accident could do incredible harm to residents, properties, and communities. It could also do untold harm to the Finger Lakes brand that we've been working very hard to create. The Finger Lakes and Seneca Lake, in particular for me, is our livelihood. It's what drives 4.5 million tourist visits to the area, to sample wine in our tasting rooms, to eat in our restaurants, to sleep in our hotels, and to shop in our downtown businesses. It's also where my husband and I and our 3 children live. It's the water that we drink. It's the water we swim in and boat upon. Everything depends on the lake. We urge that the governor protects our hard work and investments and our co-workers and neighbors. We have a healthy, sustainable, growing industry. Why would the governor risk that for a Texas oil company? Governor Cuomo, we urge you to direct the DEC Commissioner Sagos to deny Crestwood's permit for industrial gas storage on Seneca Lake. Thank you.
I'm William O'Lean. I'm the Secretary of the Finger Lakes Wine Business Coalition. We're a coalition of Finger Lakes wineries, vineyards, independently owned and operated restaurants, B&Bs, wine industry vendors, and others who contribute to our region's thriving economy and tourism industry. Right now, protecting and growing the Finger Lakes brand is more important than ever. World-class winemakers from California, Germany, and France have started new projects in the Finger Lakes. This didn't happen by accident. We're proud of our hard work over the nearly century and a half the Finger Lakes wine industry has been operating, and we're grateful for the investments our state and our governor have made in the Finger Lakes. If Crestwood plans to store millions of gallons of LPG are allowed to move forward on Seneca Lake in the heart of Finger Lakes wine country, it threatens all that we've built and all that we've worked on for 150 years. Local businesses recognize the threat posed by Crestwood's plan. More than 500 local businesses have joined the coalition of the Finger Lakes Wine Business Coalition and Gas Free Seneca and have signed a letter outlining our opposition. Governor Cuomo has demonstrated to our nation his leadership on the decision to ban hydraulic fracturing in New York State. He's demonstrated his leadership on a national level, encouraging us to embrace renewable energy technology. And once again, it's time for Governor Cuomo to demonstrate his leadership on a national level and deny this project to protect the people of the Finger Lakes who have voted him into office and who appreciate his support. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Campbell. I'm the president of Gas Free Seneca. Gas Free Seneca is the founding organization opposing this ill-conceived plan. Sorry, I should introduce my partner in crime, Yvonne Taylor, who is the vice president of Gas Free Seneca. And anyway, we are the founding organization opposing this ill-conceived plan to store liquid petroleum gas in these abandoned salt caverns on the shores of Seneca Lake that were never designed to store anything, much less highly pressurized LPG. Together, nearly 500 Seneca Lake property owners just recently sent a letter to Governor Cuomo. 500 businesses on the Seneca Lake, the Gas Free Seneca and the Finger Lakes Wine Business Coalition, and 32 municipalities representing 1.2 million New Yorkers have voiced their opposition to Crestwood's Seneca Lake proposal. Storing millions of barrels of explosive propane, none of which would heat a single local home or business in these caverns under the shores of Seneca Lake is a terrible idea. We have supplied documentation of questionable cavern integrity, public safety concerns, the project's negative impacts to the local economy and the community character of the Finger Lakes, and the lack of approval by a legally authorized state geologist as required by law. We urge DEC Commissioner Basil Sagos to take control of the final supplemental environmental impact statement. Crestwood prepared the draft, and it tilts heavily in favor of its own project. No surprise there. The DEC should prepare the final version, including the crucial sections on community character and the no action alternative that are currently missing from the draft, and fully discussing the ample evidence in the robust record that supports a denial of the permit. Crestwood has announced that it is selling U.S. salt, meaning that they can no longer claim to be the largest employer and taxpayer in the county. This makes a denial of the project even more economically prudent, since the project itself only supports 3 to 5 jobs. Our communities would shoulder all the risk, receive virtually no benefit from the gas storage proposed by Crestwood. We had hoped that Crestwood was finally responding to the community's concerns about the threats to public safety, community character, and the burgeoning wine and tourism industries of the Finger Lakes region. But they continue to push for this ill-conceived project. We are here to let Governor Cuomo know of our unabated opposition to the project and to ask him to ensure that DEC denies the application. Governor Cuomo, we need you to stand up for your constituents across New York State, and especially in the Finger Lakes, and not a Texas-based oil and gas conglomerate. And work with Commissioner Sagos to deny the permit now. Thank you, and that will conclude our press conference, unless
Unless anyone has any questions. Thank you very much for coming.
I've been searching for